I'm Samantha, 28 years old. I stood at the edge of my lake house, watching as the cars of my so-called family sped away, kicking up a trail of dust behind them. The mix of outrage and disbelief on their faces almost made me laugh. To me, though, it wasn't just funny. It was a victory I had been waiting years to claim. That story began a decade earlier, when I was only 18. My mother, a gentle and kind-hearted woman, died unexpectedly from an illness. After she was gone, my father, Richard, seemed to lose his direction. He drowned himself in work, shutting out everything else. About a year later, he met Vivian, a sharp, calculating businesswoman who seemed to know exactly what she wanted. She had 2 grown daughters of her own, Lily and Rose, both confident, polished, and unapologetically self-absorbed. From the moment they moved into our home, I felt like a stranger in my own house. I tried to blend in. I smiled, helped where I could, and avoided conflict. But no matter what I did, there was an invisible barrier between us. Vivian would drop little barbed comments like, "Samantha, you're far too quiet. You should try to be more like Lily and Rose." My father, completely taken with her, never seemed to notice how much those words stung. When I finally left for college in another state, I felt a wave of relief. At last, I didn't have to walk on eggshells every day. During those years, I often visited my great-aunt Clara. She lived in a cozy, beautiful lake house, a place tied to some of my happiest childhood memories. We'd spend hours on the porch, sipping tea and talking about life. She was the only person who truly understood me. When Aunt Clara passed away at 90, she left the lake house and a generous inheritance in my name. The news left me both thrilled and overwhelmed. One evening over dinner, I mentioned the idea of selling the house. Vivian immediately chimed in with her practical tone. "Don't be rash. It's a wonderful property, perfect for family gatherings." My father agreed without hesitation. Trying to be trusting, I gave them a spare key, assuming they would respect the place. Instead, they treated it as their own weekend retreat. They brought friends, threw parties, and behaved as though I didn't exist. One summer, I decided to escape the city for a while and drove to the lake house. To my shock, the place was already buzzing with music and people. A party was in full swing. When Lily spotted me, her face twisted with irritation. "Why are you here? You're ruining everything," she snapped. My anger boiled over. I reminded her that the house was mine, and I alone had the right to decide who stayed. That confrontation drew a permanent line between us. After that, my father drifted even further away. His calls became rare, and when they did come, the conversations were painfully awkward. Then, about 3 weeks ago, he phoned and invited me to dinner. He explained they were planning a family vacation at the lake house and wanted to include me. I hesitated but felt a flicker of hope. Maybe things were finally changing. For the next 2.5 weeks, I poured myself into preparations. I scrubbed every corner of the house, stocked the pantry, and even bought new furniture for the terrace. I wanted everything perfect. But just 3 days before the trip, my father called again. His voice was heavy with hesitation. "Vivian," he said, "thought my presence would make things awkward. And I wasn't welcome." The words crushed me. All my work, all my hope, it had all been for nothing. But beneath the pain, anger took root. I decided I wasn't going to let them keep walking over me. I called my best friend, Maya, who was always up for mischief and adventure. After hearing everything, she was more than eager to join me. I also invited a few other close friends. The day before my family was scheduled to arrive, I had the locks changed. When they showed up, Vivian's expression as the key refused to turn was priceless. Her fury boiled over as she accused me of being petty and selfish. I calmly reminded her that, by her own words, I wasn't part of their family. So why should I open the door? After a shouting match, they stormed off in defeat. My friends and I, on the other hand, had the best vacation I'd had in years. We swam in the lake, fished in the mornings, and laughed until our stomachs hurt. For the first time in so long, I felt free and genuinely happy. When I returned to the city, a letter from Vivian was waiting in my mailbox. It overflowed with accusations and demands for an apology. I couldn't help but laugh as I drafted a short email. I was finished with their games, wished them luck, and blocked every number tied to them. A month later, I spotted my father outside my office building. He looked older, worn out, almost broken. He asked me to sit down with him at a cafe. There he finally apologized. He admitted the family vacation had been a disaster, and confessed he now understood how badly he had failed me. He promised to cut ties with Vivian and her daughters. I was still deeply hurt, but I told him I'd think about giving him a second chance. Healing would take time. That same evening, I called my realtor friend, Jenna. I asked her to help me find a small place in the city and to put the lake house up for rent. I was finally ready to turn the page and begin a new chapter of my life.